Hi. For almost a decade I've used an iPhone as my main phone. However, I spent last month with Google Pixel 10 Pro XL, and I wanna share my experience with you. Before that, quick history. My smartphone journey didn't start with Android or iOS. In 2011 I had a Nokia 5228 running Symbian, and in 2014 I finally got an Android phone, the legendary Google Nexus 5, which unfortunately failed on its own in 2016. From then until September 2025 I stuck with iPhones, only glancing at modern Android now and then to see if I were missing anything in Apple's ecosystem. In 2023 I needed a second phone, so I bought a used Google Pixel 4 XL in black. I'm still dreaming of orange one, but that's probably not happening. I never used it as my main device, but I like it. Android 13 still feels fast, the design is clean, the cameras still hold up, and even the haptics are nice. The battery isn't good, but if something happened to my main phone, I could get by with this Pixel. To me, it's the last true Pixel, because it used the flagship SoC of its time, had real face unlock like Face ID on iPhones, and was a genuinely smart buy back in 2019. So, I'm not new to Android. I've got good memories with Google phones. This year, during trip to Japan, where Pixels are surprisingly popular, I've decided to go all in and get a new one. My choice was pretty much predetermined. The flagship Google Pixel 10 Pro XL. And today I'll tell you about it. First up, design. I almost always liked how Google phones looked even before Pixels came out. Let's take a quick look at them. Nexus 4, Nexus 5, Nexus 6P, Pixel 1, 2, 4, and Pixels 9 and 10 are no exception. They look identical. Polished aluminum frame, matte glass, and symmetrical camera bump make it look smart and premium. I wish I had mine in porcelain color option, but unfortunately only Obsidian is available in Japan with 512GB of storage. Still, it's a nice device I love to look at, and the original Google case doesn't ruin the impression of the device. It feels and fits well, and though it's white, it doesn't collect fingerprints or dirt. A worthy accessory for a worthy smartphone. Android experience. I've always hated flashy UIs, like Samsung's Alt TouchWiz years ago, and some ugly Chinese shells that even show ads. It's ridiculous. I love the Pixel UI experience. It's Android as it should be. Made by Google and made for Google. Without third-party apps I don't need. It's fast, responsive and reliable. Display. I have nothing bad to say about it. It's big, colorful and bright. Of course it has always on and high refresh rate. Cameras. The cameras and the tech behind them are the biggest advantage of this phone. 50 megapixels photos are beautiful no matter the conditions. Google's algorithms are really good, and in my opinion results are comparable or even better than the iPhone 17 Pro Max. I had a chance to compare them in an Apple store. The 5x telephoto module is more than enough for me. If I had to choose a telephoto, I'd prefer 3x or 4x. 5x is sometimes too much, but that doesn't mean it performs poorly. On the contrary, it's the most interesting module for me, because I haven't used such a large native zoom before. Let's check the photos I've taken with the Pixel. I'm not a fan of selfies, so I'll just say that front camera is good. Gimmicks. The most fun feature on the latest Pixel Pros for me is the temperature sensor. In my life it's absolutely useless, but it's fun to have. Unfortunately, measuring body temperature isn't available in my country. As I read on Reddit, some people use it to check bath temperature or the temperature of a kid's milk. Good use cases, by the way. AI. Google really makes good AI products. I'm not a Gemini user, I prefer ChatGPT, but there is not a big difference between them for everyday tasks. Of course, even Gemini is way better than Siri. Also, Google's AI technologies and photo editing are better than what we have on iOS. Pixel Snap. There is one more cool gimmick here. Pixel Snap. Available for the phones and original Google cases. As far as I know, it costs the Pixel its reverse charging, but I like magnets more, because I use MagSafe wallet, a DJI quick release mount, and a MagSafe wireless charger, all fully compatible with Pixel Snap. I hope other phone brands will join this MagSafe style party, because at least it gives full compatibility with the fast Qi 2.2 wireless charging standard. One more reason to buy a Pixel is the long-term software support guaranteed by Google. Google promised 7 years of OS and security updates for the Pixel 10 series, which I think is very good, especially for an Android phone. As a Pixel 4 XL user, I should mention that even though it hasn't received new updates since 2022, I still see features that are maybe exclusive to Pixels. For example, the AI Enhance edit option in Google Photos. I can't claim it's unavailable on non-Pixels, but I can't find it, for example, on the Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus. So Pixels, even after their official end of life, are still Pixels, and Google not forgets about it. There are other features worth mentioning, but unfortunately they are unavailable in my country or in my native language. These are call features like call screen, after screening of phone calls, hold for me, direct my call, and wait times. I also haven't had a chance to try Ask Photos, AI photo editing by voice, and Magic Q, though I don't rely on AI that much. Now let's go to disadvantages. Back to design. Many phones have passed through my hands, and the Pixel 10 Pro XL is the first where the rear camera glass picked up scratches after just 2 weeks of use. I didn't do anything rough to it, I consider myself a careful user. You can't see the scratches in normal use, but they're clearly visible in bright light. It doesn't affect photo quality, but I strongly recommend buying a protective glass for the rear camera module. And I hope Google makes the camera glass more scratch resistant in future Pixels. Back to the UI. I know I said I like Pixel UI, but there is one thing I don't: the Google search bar pinned to the bottom of the home screen. If I want to Google something, I'll open the browser. If I need quick facts, I'll say OK Google, or long press the power button to summon Gemini. Or I can open ChatGPT from its widget. What I also don't fully like is the stock camera app. Shooting in 50 megapixels makes phone think for a few seconds. And it's annoying when you shoot something, instantly go to the messenger to send it to someone, and see that the photo you've just taken still is processing. Also, on the Pixel 4 XL, camera app feels more UI-friendly to me, while in Pixel 10 it's a bit overloaded with too many shooting modes. And I'm disappointed that I can shoot square photos. The only available ratios are 16:9 and 4:3. In some scenarios I prefer square, so please, let us shoot it in the stock camera. Also, I must mention that video possibilities of Pixel are limited. Stabilization is worse and the zoom is less smooth than on iPhone. And I don't know why, but you can't shoot 4K 60 FPS in HDR. I faced a bug when you can enable it, but in reality video will be captured in Full HD, so you can't rely too much on it. You probably know, tensors aren't great at performance and heat management. I use my Pixel at max screen resolution, and a few times I've noticed frame rate drops while scrolling. I don't know if it's a poor app optimization or an SoC issue, but you don't want to see this in everyday apps that don't need a powerful GPU. On my third day, I ran into an unacceptable Google Photos bug. My camera folder opened in 14 seconds. Yes, 14 seconds, instead of instantly. I've never enabled cloud backup, the phone was charged, and even restarting didn't help. The issue lasted almost a day and was fixed only by reinstalling Google Photos, thanks to a Reddit tip from someone who had the same issue on a Pixel 8 a few years ago. As an iPhone user who never worried about things like this, I was shocked. Thankfully, that was the only moment when I was ready to call this Pixel a piece of junk. In addition to SoC, once I faced overheating while shooting video with a telephoto in 4K. So, if you live in a hot place and want to record long videos, be prepared to cool down your Pixel. Also, the full line of Pixel 10 uses the same cellular model as the Pixel 9 series, which means no real change in its quality or speeds. While I've not faced any big problems with connectivity, some people are writing on the forums that on all the Pixels cellular connection may be better. And as a result of the not so great SoC and the unchanged cellular modem, battery life suffers. The Pixel 10 Pro XL gives me maximum about 6 or 6.5 hours of screen time in a day. I should mention that battery saver auto enabled and 20%. That makes the Pixel worse than my iPhone 16e, which is a smaller budget phone, not a flagship competitor, and similar to, even worse than my 2-year-old iPhone 14 Pro Max with an aged battery. I'm afraid to imagine how people manage with a non-XL model. As you just heard, my first impression of the Pixel 10 Pro XL weren't great. I saw fast battery drain compared to the iPhone 16e, some FPS drops, and that awful slow Google Photos bug. However, after months, I've adapted. I've learned to live with the Pixel. I enjoyed shooting and editing photos, and I was happy filming video. 3 rear cameras are better than one in the iPhone 16e I used month before. Overall, I'd rate my experience as positive. Do I recommend the Pixel 10 Pro XL? I'd say not to everyone. Compared to modern Samsung and Apple's flagships, with Google you are getting less battery life, lower performance, less storage on the Pro model, the same cellular modem as the Pixel 9 from a year ago, the same camera modules as the Pixel 9 Pro line from a year ago. At the same time you are getting pure Android, newest Google's AI technologies also applied to the cameras, a temperature sensor if your last phone wasn't a Pixel 8 Pro or 9 Pro, and MagSafe style accessories support called Pixel Snap. And that's about it. I believe next year's Pixels will be much better, but the 2025 models are just okay. If you're upgrading from a 2 or 3 year old flagship, the Pixel 10 Pro line will not surprise you. Pixels are good in vacuum, and they're good if you can get them with a solid discount. But against today's competitors, they look a bit unremarkable. Use the devices you genuinely like, and thanks for watching.